Anime dropped this year, number 50, MF Ghost, 1 episode watched, 4 out of 10. If I had known that this was a spin-off slash generational sequel to Initial D, I likely wouldn't have watched it in the first place, but I did, so I might as well talk about it. I think it's worth saying that this was likely never going to be a series that was for me. I'm not into cars, and I'm definitely not into car racing as a follow-up to that, so the subject matter wasn't going to grab me on its own. So definitely consider this mostly to be the take of a total outsider as to if there are other merits to watch this show for. Well, like I said, I dropped it, so it's pretty clear that I find the answer to be no. A lot of that comes down to the fact that I think the characters are pretty weak. The lead is very bland and doesn't seem to have much personality to him at all aside from his backstory. The character that looks to be set up as his mentor slash wingman has a creepy parasocial relationship with the female lead who has already explicitly turned him down, which leads him, after being turned down, to try to get her personal information from an office and getting her work schedule to watch her like a creep. Said female lead is a high school girl who is working as racing eye candy. I mean, really, how hard would it have been to just bump her up to being a college student instead? Anyway, she's introduced to us by way of going on about how she thinks love at first sight is silly, that she turned down a guy who asked her out because he didn't know her and was just going off looks, and she'd rather have someone she likes, even if everyone else doesn't find him conventionally attractive. The show then makes her an immediate hypocrite by having her get goo-goo eyes for the main character the second she meets him without knowing anything about him, and he is considered conventionally attractive to other girls that she shows his picture to. If I'm being generous, I think this is meant to be a joke, but it also proceeds to toss everything that has been set up about her in the first few minutes of the show for the sake of that joke. So I don't have high hopes for the writing on her. The writing in general also just isn't all that great. The way some of these conversations go don't feel like the way that real people would talk. Topics can sometimes change on a dime, and the amount that it is clearly trying to shove in exposition is so blatant and incredibly clunky. Not to mention the cringiness of the main character constantly praising things like the Japanese food and snacks he's experiencing. Then again, he lived in England, so...